Welcome back to the Dynasty Arsenal podcast. This is episode 12. Little dirty dozen for the people. I'm Sammy Stacks, joined as always by my good friend and co-host Tags. And Tags, you got to see the Travion Henderson hat trick live in person.
I got to see the Hendo show. He did it just for me because I was in attendance.
Just for you. Made a little trip up to Boston, or is it down to Boston?
It's up to Boston.
It's up to Boston? Yeah, my American geography is not incredible. I try my best. But yeah, with all he needed was Terrell Jennings to get hurt, of course.
That's all he needs. We all expected this.
And the hat trick. And inevitably, Ramondre will come back and get 70% of the snaps.
I'll tell you what, it was very interesting. I wanted to buy one of the Northeasterner throwback jerseys. Because hot take, I think they look sick. I know a lot of people don't like them. I love them. And I wanted to get a Henderson jersey while I was there. Looked everywhere in the pro shop for it. They were sold out of like every single Henderson jersey except a few of the smaller sizes. And I was so bummed. I went online and bought a Henderson jersey like that night. And then, of course, Henderson goes for the hat trick. And I was so bummed I wasn't able to get one of the jerseys in advance. But, man, he's so good.
When did you...
And the fact that all of his jerseys sold out kind of has the sentiment of what Patriots fans want. They want Henderson on the field.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And my take, we're going to get into it a little bit later in the podcast. But the cat's out of the bag with Henderson. Like, he's so good. He's explosive. Yeah. And... well, we'll get into it with some buy and sell takes later on because there's a conflicting one there. And I think now that he's had his coming out party, Vrabel loves him. Like, I was watching them on the sidelines of that game. Yeah. Vrabel was popping off every time Henderson hit a big play. And every time Henderson got a touchdown, gave him a huge bear hug after his third touchdown, that catch on the sideline. And I think it's Hendo season. He's arrived.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely should be. And I think that we all hope that it is. I had one share from rookie draft season and I sold it like 3 weeks ago.
Oh no. Right before the breakout?
Yeah, it was before Ramondre got hurt. And
what was the trade?
So I think I sent Travion and 2 seconds. I think I sent here's what I did. I sent Travion a 26 second and a 27 second. And I got back Scattaboo, a first in 26, and a third in 27. So I moved up around in 26. I moved down around in 27.
That's a fun deal.
And I got Scattaboo after the Scattaboo injury before the Henderson breakout.
I was gonna say, I'm guessing that's a rebuild team.
It is a rebuild team.
Yeah, you get Henderson's points off your teams, move your pickup. And we had that rookie redraft a few weeks ago, and
yeah,
Scattaboo and Henderson were neck and neck for me.
They were neck and neck, and that was tied before the Scattaboo injury, before the Henderson breakout. So there's a lot, But so today, I should introduce today's topic. Everybody's dying to know.
What are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking about some contender buys, and we have a few sells, but it's mainly a contender buys show. Trade deadlines are coming up. If your league has a trade deadline, contending teams are loading up for the playoff push, trying to win a championship, and we're going to talk about some guys that we think you should be buying on your contending rosters.
It's pushing season.
It's pushing season, exactly. And a little disclaimer before we get into it. These buys will all be very league and team dependent. Not every single contender that you have is going to be a fit for all of these names that we're going to talk about. And I'll expand on this. If you're a contender in a start 9 lineup where you're starting 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, that's going to be a lot different than in a start 11 with 3 wide receivers and 3 flex. Adding those extra starting lineup spots is going to make some of these guys that we're going to talk about more important. Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about Wan'Dale Robinson. I do not think Wan'Dale Robinson is as important in a league where you can max start 4 wide receivers. If you have to buy Wan'Dale to win a championship in that type of league, you're probably not a contender. So just these kinds of things. We'll talk about this as we go through. all the names, but the deeper the starting lineup, the more those lower end starters are going to matter. Those guys putting up high end wide receiver 3, low end wide receiver 2 numbers. These kind of guys.
Yeah. For the most part, all of our podcast content is centered around 12-team leagues, PPR, half point tight end premium, which is kind of like the standard settings nowadays.
Yeah, honestly, it is.
And also start 10.
That's my favorite.
I'm a fan of like the start 11. I love expanding the rosters.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Make them bigger.
Yeah.
More players, more fun. But for the most part, all of our content kind of like when we're doing player takes, it's around that kind of generalized standard setting. If you're in a 10-team league, like I don't buy quarterbacks in 10-team leagues because there's so many quarterbacks available. You're kind of wanting to send around star power rather than
and it saturates
depth.
the market too, right? When everybody has 2 and everybody's happy with their 2.
Yeah, it's like
You know what I mean?
trying to sell a quarterback in a 10-team league, so difficult. So yeah, just kind of rule of thumb. That's kind of what our content is kind of centered around because that's the most popular format.
Absolutely.
And we don't even need a disclaimer because I went in and I checked every single follower's leagues and they're all that. So it's all all good. We're just putting
all of our
legwork.
listeners are in leagues with us. So that's yeah,
they're all listening to try to snipe trades from us. So
well, yeah, exactly. And I have something, you know what, I can talk about it right now quick before we get into the buys. I wanted to bring this up quickly. I want to talk to you about 1-for-1 trades. And specifically because we had one go down very recently, you and I, in a league where I am trying to punt. We did the startup this offseason. I just don't have the horses, and I'm trying to sort of turn it around really quick. I didn't have my first, which this is something that I'm going to bring up in the summer for us to talk about because it is something that I've really realized, and I've talked about with you and Jeremy, about not having your first on a team like going into the year and how that's really just like messes you up if things go even a little bit wrong. So I had to buy back my own first, and then I started punting, and I sent you Josh Jacobs for Cam Scadaboo, 1-for-1.
Yep.
You threw it in my inbox, and I was just, and I'm thinking about it because I think it was, it was one of the big podcasts that I heard say this. They were like, never accept a 1-for-1 trade offer. Because that person is telling you, I like this player more than that player. So why wouldn't you try to extract the most amount of value possible? Right? But then I'm thinking about it and I'm like,
I was going to say, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. And I'm like, why can't we just... Basically, I sent you a trade in one of our leagues the other day where I was looking at my roster, I was looking at your roster, and I was like, I have Justin Herbert, you have Caleb Williams, and... We talked about on the last podcast how I like Caleb Williams more than Justin Herbert and how you like Justin Herbert more than Caleb Williams. So why can't we just all be friends and just, especially now in a situation where, like, if somebody that's in one of our leagues is listening to this and hears that I like, I don't know, Devon Achane more than Jonathan Taylor, and they send me Devon Achane for Jonathan Taylor, what am I going to, I'm going to pretend that I don't? So I think
it's
accept
funny.
1-for-1 trades. They're fun.
Yeah.
Make a stand. You know what I mean? Like,
especially in the Scadaboo and Josh Jacobs, because the players are valued differently in the generalized sense. But in terms of our teams and our needs, I value Jacobs higher than Scat. That's why I'm willing to make that offer, because I need the production now. If I was punting, I'd rather have Scadaboo.
They're in the same tier, exactly.
Yeah, and that also factors in the value of you getting Josh Jacobs points off your team, which gets your first round pick better. And it's you have to value the team situation. That's why this time of year, a lot of people are selling their premium assets because contenders value those points more. So you have to factor in the timing of it in those 1-for-1 trades because players aren't valued differently. It doesn't mean that I won that trade or you lost that trade. There doesn't have to be a loss, someone losing a trade. And I feel like that's how so many people value it as, oh, I need to win this trade. I need to get more. That trade was honestly, I viewed it as a win-win for both teams. Like, it makes so much sense for both of our team situations.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, we're not competing. I'm not against you in the playoffs. Let's help each other out.
And you know what the thing is?
Helps your situation out better. It gives me points.
If you, let's say you win the championship this year with Jacobs, great. That was completely worth it for you. And in 2 years, if Josh Jacobs is, faded, he's having an Alvin Kamara season, and Cam Scatterboo is a top 6 running back, okay, now it's my turn to win. But you won the championship.
And honestly, if I get 2 to 3 years production out of that trade, still worth it for me because I won a championship. I still have a useful player.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that people's like thought process in trade negotiations always is I need to win and you need to lose. This needs to be a trade where I think your team is getting worse, and it doesn't have to be that way at all.
Yeah, we need to get out of the mindset of trying to fleece each other, because team situations are different, which means player evaluations for those teams is different. So Being able to identify a team who, hey, this player is more beneficial on your team than he is on mine, and being able to get production back for it is so beneficial. And that's kind of leads into our segment for this week, which is buy and sells for contenders.
Absolutely. And this is when you need to find somebody who wants to get points off their roster and wants to acquire draft capital.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of teams around this time that are 7th in the league standings. And they're going, you know what? I'm not going to win a championship with this team. My team's fine, but I'm not going to win a championship with it. And my first guy on the list is the perfect quarterback to move off of one of those teams. If you have like Mahomes and you're not making a playoff run, you can keep him.
Yeah.
He's going to hold value for several years. He's going to be productive for you. My first buy for contenders is Matthew Stafford, who we all know could retire at any moment. If he wins the MVP in a Super Bowl, I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, he could easily just retire. Dude, what a way to end your career.
It would be such a baller way, too.
Oh, my gosh. At the top, you don't want to be freaking Joe Flacco, like getting traded from the Browns to the Bengals when you're 42. Nobody wants this. Right?
I mean, you got to get Stafford that bag as an older player. I'm sure Flacco's happy getting paid a few $1,000,000 to just kind of pop in, play.
He's having a great time. But yeah, some guys want to go out on top, and I think Stafford could be one of those guys. But basically, he's averaging out to be the quarterback 4 in points per game on the season so far, which is just nuts. For a guy with no rushing upside, I think he might be averaging negative rushing yards on the year, genuinely. Like, this is 0 rushing upside whatsoever. But he's averaging 20.9 points per game. He's averaging almost 34 pass attempts and 3 touchdowns. So they're throwing the hell out of the ball. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They're throwing a ton of touchdowns. It's Davante Adams. It's one of the 4 tight ends. And he's priced as an early to mid-second. So if you're a team that's like a quarterback away, maybe you had JD, maybe you had some other guy who got injured. Penix. Maybe you were relying on Penix as a quarterback too. I don't know why you'd be doing that, but maybe you were. And now you need to send a 2nd-round pick for Matthew Stafford. I really like it. If you need to add on to your late second, I'm fine with that too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Stafford is a very obvious buy for me.
I think we have the same mindset on 3rd and 4th. They're just kind of the extra bonus on top that I throw into trades just to get it done.
I'm happy to send them and I'm happy to receive them.
Absolutely, because they're kind of they're kind of just additional leverage to get a deal done. And if you hold them for draft time, they're nice to be able to have some flexibility with moving up, moving back in the draft. I was
just going to say that. A 3rd-round pick, the 303, does wonders when you want to move from the 212 to the 206.
Yeah.
You know if a trade is people like those things.
If a owner is on the fence of taking a trade and it's going to cost us 3rd to get it done or a 4th to get it done, just take it. The hit rate on those players is so abysmal that, if it gets the deal done, fine.
And people are so stubborn to the point where it's like, oh, I need one more 3rd. And it's like, okay, you win. I
you win this round.
Yeah, exactly.
Which goes back to the mindset of just trying to win a trade, but whatever.
Exactly.
Sometimes you got to throw in a late round pick to be like, oh no, you won the trade. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I love the Stafford pick. That offense is so fun with Puka and Davante Adams balling out. And I'm kind of thinking it. I feel like Devontae Adams could be productive another year or two. So if he is, why would Stafford want to retire? As I'm
Yeah,
like
if he can
stewing,
try and
as
go
I'm
back to
stewing
back.
this in my head in real time, like honestly, them running it, if they win the Super Bowl this year, MVP, and Devontae Adams still wants to play, run it back. Have Stafford and Adams tied together, where it's like, are you retiring? No. Okay, cool. I'll keep going. Until eventually one of them's like, hey, I'm going to retire. And then Adams and them can just walk off into the sunset.
There you go. Yeah, so I mean, it's always fun to bring up real trades, right? I had a league where I have Bo Nix, but then my quarterback 2 was kind of in the question. And I had Justin Fields, of course, on my roster. And so I sent my 2027 second, and this is a contender, my 2027 second and AJ Barner for Matthew Stafford.
Easy.
Just a random upside shot for this rebuilding team on a tight end that probably won't hit my starting lineup right now. He obviously had a big week this past week, but that was about 3 weeks ago I made that deal. But yeah, these things can get done. So we really like the Matthew Stafford pick.
And you can sell them when you're negotiating with these people. You can sell them on the fact that it might be a 1 year rental for Stafford. There's no contract in place for next year. He's on a 1 year deal, and he has made it clear he doesn't want to sign more than a 1 year, so he can take it year by year and decide if he wants to keep playing. So you can't really bank on him getting multiple years out of him. But if he's the quarterback that is my last piece I need for a playoff, you can hit up the owner of Stafford and be like, hey, he's probably not going to have any value next year because he's a 1 year rental. Like, just take it. So I think you have the negotiating leverage to get him for cheap as well.
And I know that you had a quarterback as well. You want to bring up?
We are going to the barbecue, getting some brisket. My quarterback buy is Jacoby Brissett. And he's been his last his finishes since he took over the job from Kyler: QB7, QB12, QB10, QB10, QB4. And he sent Kyler to the IR. That's how bad he outperformed Kyler. And that team cannot run the ball. They might be able to run the ball once Trey Benson gets back, but that's no guarantee.
Mean, who knows when that is? Nobody's like, Trey Benson's on a milk carton at this point. Nobody's seen him.
And Benson also wasn't that productive of a runner. He was more efficient in the passing game. Yeah. So I don't think they can run the ball and not have to throw 30 plus times. He's almost guaranteed passing volume. And his playoff schedule is the Texans, which isn't great. That's week 1 of the playoffs. Hopefully you don't have to start him. But then he gets the Falcons and Bengals. And that Bengals game in championship week, just sign up for 30 points from Brissett and just sit back and watch him chuck the ball.
Dude, he's throwing the piss out of that thing. He set a record on Sunday tied the record for most completions.
Yeah, Michael Wilson getting 18 catches.
Dude, he had 47 completions. Wild. 47. Insane from Jacoby Brissett. And they don't even need Marv.
No. That's going to be their game plan, though, because they cannot run the ball. So they're going to throw 30, 35, 40 plus times a game. And that playoff schedule for fantasy, it's juicy.
Yeah, the Texans, it's difficult, but if they have to throw the ball, Trey McBride can eat against the Texans defense. He's a good enough weapon that they'll be able to get him the ball. And I think he could very well still be a starter. I mean, you laid it out. Top 12 quarterback in 5 weeks that he's played. Every week. There's only 2 quarterbacks this year that have gone on a streak of 5 games of being a top 12 quarterback, and it's Jacoby Brissett and Patrick Mahomes. That's it. End of list. So an incredible buy because he could be on any type of roster. Like, you would think Matthew Stafford is only going to be on a team that at the beginning of the year thought they had a chance at the playoffs.
Yep.
Jacoby Brissett was on waivers when Kyler was starting. You know what I mean?
So
we literally had an episode. We had an episode at the beginning of the year talking about pick up these backup quarterbacks because they are going to turn into picks. I think you could Like, I genuinely think there could be a team with Jacoby Brissett that asks for a late second. I wouldn't send it, I don't think.
2/3. I bet 2/3 could get you Brissett in a few leagues, especially
and if you have picked up Brissett on a team that isn't trying to win, that is, take the 2/3. You paid nothing for him, so it makes way too much sense not to do it.
And there's going to be a few leagues where the rebuild guy picked up Brissett to sell him. Brissett's balling out, and he's like, "Oh shit, I don't want these points on my team." He's like actively making my pick worse.
Yeah.
And no, he hasn't had any trade offers for him because Brissett is not a sexy name. Nobody wants Brissett on their team. Go get him for a third. Hit up the owner and be like, "Hey, he's scoring too many points. You're like this ranking in the max points for your pick. Like, get him off your team. I'll send you a third." I bet that deal gets done in a few leagues just based on the fact that Brissett's balling out, putting up a lot of points, and nobody wants him for some reason. He has the starting job for the rest of the year. He has the security which is guaranteed. Of that.
Yeah, that's all you need, and a third for a rest of the year starter
easy
is a no-brainer.
Easy. Who do you got for running back?
So my first running back. No, that's it for quarterbacks. My first running back. You're not gonna like this, and I know that I sent you over my list so that we wouldn't have any. We wouldn't have a crazy amount of overlap.
At the top of the show.
Yeah, I think that Ramondre Stevenson is a good buy right now. This is one of the takes that like I think it's so funny it makes me want to get behind it more. You know what I mean? And there's a reason for it. I feel like
you're self-sabotaging yourself a lot this year.
No,
gotta when a take goes badly, you double down on it. Sometimes you don't have to double down.
This is the thing. The reason this can't go poorly is because of the way that his value has just completely plummeted since the Travion breakout. Right now, he's priced. And keep in mind, keep trade cut takes some time to adjust. The Travion 3-touchdown game was 6 days ago. So he's priced right now as an early to mid third. We've just talked about how that is basically nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that anybody with Ramondre, they feel like they are not only holding a grenade, but that the grenade has already gone off. Right? And so I think that is there not a world, it could be a 5% chance, it could be a 10% chance, is there not a world where Ramondre Stevenson gets a 50-50 split with Travion Henderson?
Yes.
Yes, what? My question is confusing.
There is a world.
Okay. So this is a offense that is operating as a top 5, top 10 unit in the NFL. Ramondre profiles as the goal line back. He just does. Travion had 3 touchdowns last game. Travion was also the only running back that was able to play on that Thursday night game who had been on the roster for more than 4 days. They elevated Dearness Johnson to be the backup. So
the Browns
Travion is great. Travion is incredible. He was a great prospect. He has looked amazing. That we all saw what happened the first half of the year. So the Patriots also have the easiest rest of season schedule for running backs. Number 1, it is the easiest schedule. You're not buying Travion Henderson right now. So I think Ramondre has low-level flex potential for a team that is scoring a lot of points. They have the easiest schedule for running backs, and he's going to cost you absolutely nothing.
Would you send a late second for Ramondre?
No.
That's where I'm at, because I don't think any Ramondre owners are selling for a third.
Why wouldn't they, though? Because they don't. If you're a Ramondre owner and you're on the outskirts of the playoffs looking in, how can his value go up?
I think he's in a contract year. And like, I have Ramondre on a rebuild team. I've posted every week, we'll sell him for any second, and no bids. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I might just hold and hope his off-season situation gets better. Or wait,
I don't think people are as patient as you.
Or wait until closer to playoffs and see if a contender gets a running back injury. But I don't want to sell him for a third. But also my thoughts on third. Some people might value thirds more. I just value them as nothing. They're just a nice little sprinkle on top of the Sunday. So I'm holding out to get a second, and
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
pretty firm on that price, which I think is where, like, if I can get Ramondre for a third, give me him all day. So I think that's where our disconnect is, because I think it's going to be very hard to get Ramondre for a third. But as a Ramondre owner, I'm just holding him for a second because seconds are more valuable to me than thirds, and thirds are just kind of nothing to me.
Well, here's what I'll say to that. To me, it seems like you are, as a buyer, you're valuing Ramondre how you see him and not how the community sees him, because he's valued in between an early 26th third and a mid 26th third on Keep Trade Cut. That's where he's priced. And that is the community putting him there. So I don't know if I don't think I've seen him go for that. Maybe I'll try and buy him this week, see if I can get that done for some proof. But I do think, even though you won't sell him for a third, there are managers out there who, like I said, feel like they are holding the bag and it's already expired.
Let me look up real quick the Ramondre trades that have happened. See if there are any deals
Let's
for
see
a
if there's
third.
anything for a third.
There's one yesterday for Ramondre Stevenson, 2027 second. There was a Ramondre for a 2026 third and Jameis Winston. So it's kind of Winston adds the value.
So I think my issue with the second is that
there's one for a straight up third a few days ago. But for the most part, it seems like he's in that second range. But yeah, he is kind of on the cusp, and I could see his value dropping down to a third when people panic, and maybe it's the first game Ramondre's back, which is projected to be this week, and maybe Henderson has 55% touches, Ramondre has 45%. And maybe that's your buying window to get him for a third, because his first week back, he's not going to be on the full snap count. They're going to ease him in.
Does anybody with Ramondre think that he's going to get 60% when he comes back? That'd be delusional, no?
I don't know, man. Vrabel's done weirder things.
Yeah, but
so
here's the argument. Here's the argument.
It being weird with that.
I think if I'm a Ramondre owner and I am waiting for him to come back, I'm thinking about all the possible scenarios, right? He could come back and he could play 20% of the snaps. He could it could be Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. I've dealt with this a lot because I have Jordan Mason in the Flock League. And Jordan Mason got 6 carries this past week. He's playing like 10% of the snaps.
Yeah.
If that's what happens when Ramondre comes back, all of a sudden you can't sell him for a fourth. He's purely a handcuff, and he only has any value if Travion gets injured.
I think at a minimum, his snap count's going to be like 45%, 50%. I just don't think Vrabel.
Yeah, I guess you're higher like on him than the community seems to be. But if you can, I wouldn't sell late second purely because I think you could get a better player for a late second, and I'm about to talk about one.
Yeah. I just think Ramondre, he fumbled constantly early this year, and that still didn't keep Vrabel from cutting down his snap percentage.
Yeah.
And Vrabel's a dude who's like ball control.
Yeah.
We need to win the turnover battle to win games. It's very early 2000s Patriots, how they built their team. So I just don't think Ramondre is going to get less than 45%, 50% snap percentage. I think it's going to be 50-50.
Yeah, and we just disagree on whether we think that somebody would send him away for a third, but I think you can admit you might as well try.
Might as well try. And yeah, send out the offer. Worst case, they say no. If you can get him for a third and a fourth, add on a fourth as a little bonus, go for it. Yeah. If that gets the deal done. My running back buy, I'll go because we have the same buy for one of these, so I'm going to go the one that I put. It's a very bold take I have. You should consider buying the RB1 overall. I know it's crazy.
Is he he's not the RB1 overall, is he?
He's the RB1 overall.
Oh, he hasn't had his buy.
And
Jonathan Taylor just did.
I think he's still like top 3 in points per game.
He's probably 2.
Dude, he's balling out.
It's Christian McCaffrey, by the way.
It's Christian McCaffrey. Spoiler alert. He's the RB1 overall currently. Check out his playoff schedule. His playoff schedule, Titans. Just lock in the week 1 win right off the bat. Indianapolis, which like is better, but not. It doesn't scare me away.
Also, let's just put this out there. He is completely game script proof. It does not matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter because if they're throwing the ball, he's gonna get 12 targets.
Can I say, as a CMC owner, I almost like it more if they stop him on the run, because it means he's gonna get 12 targets.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh no, it's a good run defense. What are we gonna do? Funnel him wide receiver 1 alpha numbers? So
yeah.
I almost prefer it as a CMC guy. Like, yeah, get him out on the passing game, give him some more space. But he's got where was I? He's got the Titans, Colts, Bears for his playoff schedule. And can I say the funniest part of CMC is that the 49ers have a week 14 bye. CMC is getting a bye week before he goes into the fantasy football playoffs. Yeah. He's going to be nice and rested for you to drop a 35-40 bomb in the first game.
If you're dying for if you're trying to squeak into the playoffs, this is obviously scary. Like if you need a week 14 win and all of a sudden you don't have CMC, but that sucks.
If you're almost guaranteed, if you're top 3 in your league, I'm I'll send 2 first. For CMC. Wow. I know, and he's still young-ish, and he has a game where he could produce into 30, 31, 32, 33. He's not as old as everyone's expecting. Like, he's what, 20, 28 right now?
He's 29 and a half.
29 and a half. You know what? That's fine. If it's
not terrible.
If he keeps up this production for 2 years, which is very doable, then I think 2 late firsts gets the deal done, gives you 30 points you can just lock into your running back slot. And I love that playoff schedule. I love the fact that he has a bye week before the playoffs. If you're a team that needs a week 14, that final week win to get into the playoffs, I wouldn't buy him. But if you're a team that's comfortably in the playoff hunt right now and is not one game away from getting knocked out, I would send 2 first for him.
It's a little terrifying.
It is a little scary.
But there is no reward without risk. And he's valued right now as in between an early and a mid first. So 2 late makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's obviously scary, but I mean, these are the guys that win championships. Ramondre Stevenson, as much as I think he's a good buy for a 3rd round pick, Ramondre Stevenson does not win a championship. Ramondre Stevenson's along for the ride. CMC can put up 40 points. We've seen it multiple times, and yeah, I think it's great. My next guy, this is a similar one to Ramondre in the sense that people are kind of just out on him, at least in my view, and it's Alvin Kamara. So Alvin Kamara is my main thing with him. He's going to go as the Saints offense goes. Tyler Shuck comes in for Spencer Rattler, looks really bad against the Rams, who are an incredible defense, and then he looked fine against the Panthers. The rest of the season, they have the Falcons, whose defense has got a lot worse over the last little bit, the Dolphins, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Jets, and the Titans. That's the rest of the schedule. There are several juicy matchups in there.
I looked at him on the Sleeper app, and you just look at his upcoming schedule, and it's all green.
It's all just green.
Exactly. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. As of week 10, or as we saw in week 10, the full workload is still intact. He's getting the vast majority of the carries and the targets for out of the backfield. Obviously, Kendre Miller, perennially hurt. He's on the IR. Devin Neal, the 5th round rookie, is backing him up now. But he's not eating into the workload. Obviously, Kamara stays with the Saints because he loves New Orleans and he didn't want to get traded to the deadline and all this stuff. And same as Ramondre, he's being valued on keep trade cut as around an early 3rd. So if you have to, again, I don't love the late 2nd. It's not because I think you can get somebody better with that pick. Because people see late 2nd, they don't necessarily see 212, right? A 2nd just naturally The 212 versus the 301 is the biggest gap in value between two picks anywhere in the rookie draft. Same with like the 112 and the 201. People just view them differently because they are in a different round. And so if you can get him for a third, if you can add a fourth onto it, he got traded last week in a league that you and I are in for a third and a fourth. That happened. So we know that it can happen. And the schedule's really good. People are out on him. I think he's a nice buy. This is him and Ramondre for me are those start 11 leagues where you are starting 3 flex, 3 wide receiver. Plug him in as a rotation guy in your flexes. I think he can help you in a championship.
Yeah, I wish his passing volume would take the step up that we need. The fact that he's been
you'd think Shuck would lean on him more, but
he's been struggling to get more than 3 targets a game, and that's my concern. He's never been an elite running between the tackles running back. That's just not what his game is.
No.
But that schedule's so nice, and yeah, for the price, I would send out just in all my leagues that I'm contending, just like send out a third for Kamara, just to get the negotiation going. If he's firm on a second, I'm like, let me shop around and see what I can get for that pick.
Exactly. That's exactly where I am.
But if it's third and a fourth, if adding that fourth on gets it done, then sure. Where are you on 2/3 for him? Is that?
I think it's fine.
I'm probably fine too, especially if it's mid to late thirds. Like, just add on another third just to get the deal done. Call it a day.
Yeah. I don't think that that pick is going to be as valuable anywhere else in any other deal as it is here. Like getting that Kamara deal across the line, you're only going to use that third for other similar things to get something across the line, right? So I think that's absolutely fine.
At least realistically, you should only be using that. Maybe we'll add that to like our off season, like how I guess more team strategy kind of talks. But like if you're holding onto a third and being like, I'm holding this because I need a useful player that's going to be starting.
You're kidding yourself.
You cannot have that mindset. You cannot. Thirds, I don't value third as a tangible player. I only value thirds and lower as like, this is my bartering chip.
Yeah, it's just being realistic about range of outcomes, right? Because sure, there's the Pukas and there's the Kyrans and there's the Bucky Irvings and
there's always fun to hit on. But
but it doesn't mean
it's
that
so
pick.
Rare.
Yeah, exactly. And I literally had a guy, I've had trade negotiations where people tell me, I'd really rather keep this fourth. I'm trying to find the next Puka. And I'm just like, what are we doing? The whole point is just be realistic about what that pick is worth. And I think as a rebuilder, I'm like, if you want to send me thirds for random players, sure, because I'm going to take as many shots as I can. Newsflash, the more picks you have, the higher chance it is you hit on one of those players. That's just probability.
2 years ago, I pulled up a rookie draft from 2 years ago. The third round.
Oh, read it.
Jalen Wright, I've cut him in leagues.
I'm going to say none, or if they have no value, or I'll say if they have value. Go through all of them.
Jalen Wright.
None.
Marshawn Lloyd.
Ooh, none.
Ben Sennett.
Somebody might still believe, but probably not.
Someone somewhere is holding on, but the fact that 36-year-old Ertz is still outplaying him.
Yep.
In his second
But he caught a
year.
fake punt once in the playoffs.
That is true. Malachi Corley.
Oh my God. On the Browns.
Roman Wilson. Has shown sparks this year.
Would you send the 305 for him?
No.
Exactly. And that's where he was picked. So
Devontae Walker.
Oh my God.
Ray Davis.
Handcuff?
But
no.
Isaac
Same with Jalen Wright. Same as Jalen Wright.
Isaac Gurindo, oh my God. Value that. Completely vanished this year. Kamani Vidal, value only because of injuries.
Yeah.
Like once Hampton's back, he's worth nothing.
Yeah, he's a handcuff.
He needed 2 injuries. He needed Najee to get injured and Hampton to get injured to be viable.
Yeah.
Gosh, this one hurts me as a Patriots fan. Javon Baker.
Dude, didn't he have the really good quote? He was like, I make people in wheelchairs stand up.
I make people in wheelchairs stand up.
So Javon Baker, worth it. Other than
worth it just for that quote, but
is there
not
anybody
worth
else in
it
there?
for the 310. Bucky Irving at 311.
Okay.
Audric Estime at 312.
Oh my God.
So out
we're
of that entire
there.
third round, one even rosterable. 11 of those 12 aren't even rosterable.
Yeah.
It's insane. So, anyways, a little
That's
side tangent on what the value of picks is. Thirds mean nothing to me. Are you telling me it gives me a 7% chance that I have even a rosterable player after 2 years?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't view them as tangible players. I use them as negotiating bargaining chips.
Yeah. So send 2 for Alvin Kamara. I'm perfectly fine with that. Our last running back here, I'll let you do the intro. We both brought him as a
both
buy.
rounds. We're that meme
We're locked in
with the 2 people doing the handshake.
Yes.
I think from the Terminator movie.
Yeah.
We're both step in step with Chase Brown. You know, we started off this podcast season hyping him up.
Dude,
hasn't been great.
My first note on Chase Brown, I was like, we have gone full circle here. That's my first thing I wrote down.
You know, you had me in the first half, Chase Brown.
Yeah. But Jake Browning is a terrorist.
Gosh, his remaining schedule though, he's got it's a lot of green. There's the Patriots this week, not great, but not terrible. He's got the Ravens, wonderful. Bills, wonderful. His playoff schedule, Ravens, love it. Dolphins, love it. Cardinals, love it. It's his playoff schedule is so juicy. And Burrow might be back soon. They're not technically out of the playoff hunt. They could really use a few
wins. With the Steelers falling apart, especially with the Ravens game coming up, right? They play the Ravens twice, and the Ravens are like 2 games up on them, I think.
Yeah. It's there as long as they stay in the playoff hunt and Burrow's coming back, like they're gonna need to lean on him. So I love Chase Brown, and it was so funny putting that in there because I'm like, we hyped him up at the beginning of the season. Hasn't been great, but you know what? We knew he was a second half guy of the season.
This is the thing.
He's gonna show up and ball.
I feel completely vindicated because Jake Browning was the problem here, right? It's not even like he needed Joe Burrow. He's been just as productive with Joe Flacco. The last 4 games, okay? That's all the games that Flacco has started, minus the first week that he played against Green Bay. 19 PPR points per game. 19. So maybe there's some concerns about like long-term job security, but he has a year left on his rookie deal. He's 25 years old. I think you could get 2. Like the Bengals defense is not going to turn around in a year, right? So this is
the year after their abysmal defense, and they've been just as bad.
We could be looking at the exact same situation next year.
Plus, they're probably losing Trey Hendrickson in offseason.
Yeah, it could be worse. It genuinely could be worse.
Genuinely could be worse.
So he's valued
they hit on the draft picks.
He's valued as a late first. It's a smash for a contender. Like, send your 26 first if you're in line to make the playoffs.
So I have this is also going to be a very good segue. Did you have any more to say on Chase? I'll make a closing point. Yeah. I, in a league, I have another team's future first. Currently, it's sitting as projected like 106. They're a playoff bubble team. I sent an offer this morning, for the 106 for Chase Brown and our next player we're going to talk about as we move to wide receivers, Stephon Diggs. And I feel pretty good about that as like a contender, being able to get 2 very useful pieces. I love the Chase Brown future schedule, and I was out on him, and now I'm back in for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. His value fluctuated so much. If you tried to buy him, I had so many shares I tried to sell a little bit mid-season there before Flacco came in. But I love Chase Brown. I was so big on Chase Brown coming into the year. I drafted so much of him in redraft, best ball stuff. and it looked terrible, and now it's looking fine. So
also, that's a player. That's a player where I look through a lot of my leagues. The majority of Chase Brown owners are not in the playoffs.
Exactly, because he was so bad.
There was only one Chase Brown team out of the like 8 contending teams I have. There was only one Chase Brown team that was in the playoffs contender. So it's like, well, they're probably not going to sell me this piece. Everyone else was like bottom of the barrel of the league because he hasn't been productive this year and he's kind of tanking their teams. So I feel like he's very viable right now.
Absolutely. And I kind of ruined your segue there that you did so incredibly well. But you moved us over to Stephon Diggs.
Piece 2 of that deal is Stephon Diggs. 31-year-old wide receiver. Don't typically love buying those guys. But another player who is very viable. And he's building rapport with May. Dude, Diggs, being at the game Thursday, I was sitting on the Patriots side around the 50-yard line. And I was just watching. I love when you're actually at the games, being able to watch the sideline interactions because you don't get that from the broadcast. Dude, Diggs, he's like a fireball on the sideline.
Hyping everybody up.
He's the team's hype man. Yeah. Like he's high-fiving everybody. He's high-fiving the defense when they get off the field, like hyping them up, cheering them on. There was one play, Hendo got the touchdown. And what we saw, like, everything about Diggs has been attitude. He's like, oh, he's a selfish player. He's attitude. When Henderson scored the touchdown, Diggs was, like, going crazy for him. He was hyped for him. That next possession, we're on defense. Our defense gets a stop. Diggs is on the sideline, running back and forth down the sideline, high-fiving everybody, hyped up. Defense runs off the field. He's like dabbing everybody up as he comes off. Diggs is 100% in on this team. And you can tell because the effort he's giving on every play, he looks like he's back on like the Vikings. He's
having a good time.
He's playing his butt off and he's loving it there. And he's been so productive lately. He's very consistent. He's a cheap buy. I bet I could get him for a third, maybe 2/3 if I want to quote unquote overpay for him. But I think he's a wide receiver 3 viable player. And I think you're going to be pretty happy with the production you get from him.
Yeah, I have some stats here. Over the season, he's averaging 12.3 PPR points per game, but he's averaging 14.8 in the last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So
he's stepped it up.
And what is he dealing? What is he coming back from? An ACL tear. So does it not make sense that the last 8 weeks he's continuing to get it ramped up? So his snaps are at the lowest of his career. He's playing 58% of the snaps, but he's holding a 23% target share, which isn't much lower than what he was doing in his prime. He was anywhere from like 27 to 30 his best years in Buffalo. The schedule is ridiculous. Cincinnati, the Giants, bye week, Buffalo, Baltimore, Jets.
Love it.
Insane.
Love it so much.
And I will say, I don't think a third is possible. I'm going to take the side that you took with the running backs. He's valued as a late second, and I've seen him go for that multiple times over the last few weeks. He's a player that I've seen being traded a lot over the last couple of weeks in leagues that we are in, and I've seen him go for a second. So, but I'm fine paying a late second because he's actually putting up points. Like Kamara, we're hoping for the points to continue. Ramondre, it's who the hell knows. But Diggs is 15 points per game over the last 8 weeks. That's really, really good. He's scored. They're looking at him in the red zone. He's scoring some touchdowns. I mean, this past week, what was it, 11 targets?
Yeah.
11 targets, 9 for 105. He had like 6 for 101 in week 4, 10 for 146 against Buffalo. Like, and this team is lacking true talent in the passing game. Like, Kayshon Boutte is fine. He's a deep threat. Hunter Henry is a usable tight end, but Diggs is the wide receiver 1 here.
I'm looking up his trades right now, and there's a lot of 2028 second, 2027 second. There's 2/3, so it seems like its value is right around that late second, early third range.
If you can send 2/3 for him, I mean, 2/3, smash.
Yeah. And I think that's doable. I think there's a lot of teams that have Diggs that aren't in the playoffs. And I think if that's the best they can get, because the only person who's going to outbid you is someone sending a second, which is doable, but a lot of teams won't want to send that second for Diggs. Never feels good sending a second for a 31-year-old wide receiver. And
well, here's the thing. I'm in a league with you. This is the league where I'm trying to blow it up a little bit. I have Stephon Diggs on my roster. I do not want for a second to have Stephon Diggs on my roster. I do not need these points. The problem with this league is that there are like 5 teams that have decided that they're contenders, and everybody else is out of the playoff picture, basically.
Yeah.
And one team is going to sneak in and not want to be there.
Yeah.
And all of the top teams sort of have their wide receiver room sorted.
Wait, which
so
league
there
is
isn't
this?
a
Can you
this
leak
is
it?
This is Audi.
Okay.
There isn't really a market for him. Nobody really wants him. So if we get to we don't have a trade deadline.
Is my team the one that's going to sneak in and doesn't want to be there?
No.
I kind of feel that.
Oh, you might be. No, I think you're one of the 5. I think you're one of the 5.
I'm at the very end of the 5 because my team has like a bajillion injuries. So
yeah. But basically, if we get to the playoffs and we don't have a trade deadline in this league, but if we get to the playoffs and my best offer is 2/3, I might take it.
Yeah.
So like you said, in a certain situation, you would be able to get it done.
I think it's doable, and I'd rather send 2/3 than I would a second. There is a deal here where it was a Diggs and a third for a second. So I love the deals where you can tier up.
Yeah, I like that too.
Especially if it kind of gets you closer to that 12 spots better. The second is just worth way more than a third, in my opinion. I feel like there's a big drop off between the value of those picks. But
yeah,
love it. Super easy schedule. He's on fire right now, working his butt off. And yeah, that playoff schedule is so juicy. If you need him as a wide receiver 3 or flex, I love it.
He's my wide receiver 2 in the flock league, and I'm over the moon with that.
Yeah, he's my wide receiver 2 in one of my contending leagues, and I'm like, you know what? I'm content with this. I don't feel the need to like spend the capital to upgrade the position.
Yeah. Our next guy we also agree with.
Hand in hand,
Wan'Dale Robinson. So Wan'Dale, I got a few stats here. Games with Jackson Dart, he's averaging 11.7 PPR points per game. And so let me spin a little narrative here. Maybe it took a few games for that connection to get going. Weeks 6 to 10, he averaged just under 14 PPR points per game. The Giants have a top 5 rest of season schedule for wide receivers, and he's currently priced as a mid to late second round pick. One thing that you and I talked about before we started recording was he's kind of like deceptively young. Like, I think people view him as older than he is because he was drafted a little while ago. He's been in the league for a few years, but he's not even 25 yet. And so I think he's a weekly low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3. It's looking like Dart is going to be back this week against Detroit. And especially in those deeper lineup leagues when you need flex help, I think Wan'Dale is a great buy.
I love the dynasty arsenalism of deceptively young. That would, if someone
it's my favorite term.
If someone told me that, I would just be, you're basically saying like, oh, you look old as shit.
But it's more it's the perception.
You tell them your age
him.
And you're like, oh, you're that young? I thought you were like 45. I don't know if I could sustain a blow like that if someone told me I was deceptively young. So apologies to Wan'Dale Robinson, who's
I'm sure at 25 he doesn't
definitely listening to the pod, and I apologize. Please join us on the pod sometime. Yeah, he's just a volume hog right now, and a lot of that could be because Neighbors is out, but like he's been able to sustain that volume even with Neighbors on the team. If anything, Neighbors kind of helps him because he's got when Neighbors was in, he had full reign to go wherever he wants, and teams do not care because they mostly care about Neighbors. The main thing to note is that he's in a contract year.
Yeah, he's a free agent,
which could be a good thing. I normally don't like buying wide receivers when they go to new teams. It's much less likely that they hit. But we don't know what this Giants are going to do. I could see the Giants giving him an extension, but it's also a new regime coming in, so they might just want to bring in their own wide receivers. So we made the comment before, like, I'd love it if he goes to the Commanders.
That'd be fun.
There's somewhere.
Plenty of landing spots that I think would be very interesting for him, and I don't think that there are many where his value would tank. So if he continues producing the way that he does, sending a mid to late second round pick for him, I think you'd be able to recoup that value in the offseason.
Yeah. It's like being able to buy a player for like as a rental and being able to get your deposit back. So
there you go. Exactly.
I love doing those kind of moves because I could see him gaining value in the offseason, and at the very least, he signs an extension with the Giants and maintains it. But for me, at least, I build my dynasty teams with the prime goal of gaining as much value and assets as possible. Because that just means you can load up your team, gives you a better chance at scoring more points and winning. And I love those kind of buy moves where they're not going to lose a ton of value, and you can either recoup your investment back or flip them if he goes to the Commanders, and it's going to be wide receiver 2 there. And yeah, I think he's a good hold. I wonder what his price range is right now.
Yeah, on Keep Trade Cut, he's around a mid to late second.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, especially given the youth.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about, where like I think that most guys around 25 putting up this kind of production would be valued a lot higher.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's had like a reputation for a long time of he's like this like PPR merchant where he's like catching 10 passes for 40 yards. And it's all short stuff, and that's fine. If that's going to score you 10 targets for 40 yards, it's 14 points in a PPR league. So
I say that volume's not going anywhere.
It may be gross, but it's absolutely fine. And it's similar to Diggs, where there isn't a lot of pass-catching talent around him.
Yeah.
The last wide receiver we have here, I'm going to bring up T. Higgins. I love T. Higgins. So this guy is absolutely elite when he has good quarterback play. If you combine all the games last year and this year's games with Joe Flacco, T. Higgins averages 19.3 PPR points per game. Okay? These are the wide receivers averaging more than that in 2025. JSN, Puka, Drake London. And Jamar Chase is averaging the exact same. That's it. So with a quarterback and an awful defense like they've had the past 2 years, I don't care if it's Joe Burrow, I don't care if it's Joe Flacco. T. Higgins is going to produce. He's averaging just under, with those 19 PPR points per game, just under 9 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown every week. Like, schedule doesn't mean a whole lot to me when you have a team like the Bengals who, no matter who they're playing against, they're going to give up points and they're going to need to throw the ball. But the schedule is sick, right? The Patriots this week should be tough. Jamar is obviously suspended. Yeah,
he's going to be on Gonzo Island.
This is the thing. I've had some conversations with people about this. I don't necessarily think that this is good for him, where it might be good for somebody else, where it's like, okay, Jamar's not going to get his normal 10 targets. They're going to go to T. The fact that like the Patriots defense and Christian Gonzalez just have to focus on him now is not great. I still think he's a really good play this week, but I wouldn't expect a huge blow up.
It's going to be the Yoshi game.
Yeah, Noah Fant is going to score 2 touchdowns. But the schedule after that is great. Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami, Arizona. Plus with Burrow coming back, he's valued similarly to Chase Brown, a mid to late first. He's not 27 yet. I love T. Higgins.
It's funny because I almost put Noah Fant as one of my tight end buys. Dude, he's been holding it down for me in a few of my leagues. And it's like at this point, I was like, let's buy the Bengals because their schedule is so easy.
Isn't
round out the rest of the year?
What team is Mike Gesicki on now? Is he still there? Because I saw a tweet that he's getting activated from the IR. I don't even know what team he's on now. Be.
Yeah, he is. Open
Your
practice.
Noah Fant dreams are over.
The Noah Fant dreams are over.
Damn it!
I got to go sell him in that league. And on that
segue,
Noah
Fant?
Moving on to tight ends.
Yes.
My first tight end buy is Travis Kelce. Dude, he's tight end 3 right now. And
Crazy.
it could be a swan song. You're going in knowing you're only renting him for for this season, and then you might just be holding a bag and have nothing.
But he's priced that way.
But if you're one tight end away and you need that tight end spot filled, he's. I feel like this is the talk of this week's episode. Are they worth a late second or are they worth a third? Because they're very different in terms of value.
It is very different.
Would you buy Kelsey for a late second? Because I have in a few. I think you're not. It's a weird spot for a Kelsey owner too. They need to sell him. They're not getting a first, but I've sent a late second for him in a few leagues, and that's not enough to buy him.
Look, you talked about the third round of rookie drafts. If I have a buy and I need a tight end and my pick is guaranteed to be 209 to 212, I bet if we went over the last 3 years, the 209 to 212 is a bunch of slop. Right? So honestly, I think that's fine if he's the tight end 3. So regardless of the actual points he's putting up, everybody has to start a tight end. So if he's the tight end 3, you have a advantage over the other teams in your league because you are getting more points at that spot, right? So in tight end premiums, you could probably flex him.
I still had that rookie draft pulled up on my phone.
Yeah, 209 to 212.
209 to 212. Blake Corum, Jermaine Burton, Jatavian Sanders.
There you go.
I'll take Kelsey for.
There you go.
For a 5-week, 6-week rental. This is just a lot of rookie drafts
fall off after the top 20. So you're talking about picks 21 to 24. And
normally it's 204, 205 range. And sometimes even earlier. Sometimes it's 202, 201, where it's I don't know if I like any of these players.
Well, I mean, this year it was the second round wide receivers, right? Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, Jack Besh, Luther Burden. None of these guys have done anything yet. Matthew Golden was just before that. Yeah, these guys have not done anything as of yet. Caleb Johnson was just before that. So I think that this is the time where these rebuilders are valuing these picks really high. I would send a late second on a true contender. If this could be the 204 because I'm a fringe playoff team, I don't like that as much.
Yeah.
But on a true
if
contender,
you're a guaranteed playoff team where it's going to be 207 or later, I think as a Kelsey, if I'm a rebuild team with Kelsey, I'm slam accepting that. Because you're not going to get better than that.
Exactly.
What are you holding
100%.
for?
100%. There's no way that doesn't get done.
You're not getting a first.
Because he hasn't verbally said this is it, but we're kind of assuming that this is the last.
We're all assuming he is. So and you can't really bank on, if you're buying him, you can't bank on him for multiple years because there's been no inclination he's actually going to do that. We didn't even know if he was playing this year or not.
Exactly. If they won the Super Bowl last year and not gotten absolutely blown out, he might have retired.
And it's also worth noting with buying Kelsey is that this is a kind of a unique year where the Chiefs there's a possibility they don't make the playoffs. They're currently a bubble team. And normally the Chiefs are comfy in first. They've got Kelsey on a snap count to kind of rest them for the playoffs.
It's not the case this year.
That was the big thing last year where his snap percentage was lower because they're kind of resting him.
This is a really good point.
They're gonna need all hands on deck.
Yeah,
which means more volume for Kelsey, more snaps. And I think it's kind of an interesting buy scenario where you're buying a player on a contending team and that the Chiefs have to win games. They can't afford to lose any more games. So I think that just kind of locks in Kelsey for even more production.
Yeah. Another older tight end. I think that George Kittle is a really good buy for contenders right now.
Purdy's back.
Purdy is back, and Kittle had a great first game with Purdy back. He's getting consistent looks in the red zone, 2 touchdowns this past week. An underrated part about this, the 49ers defense is really, really hurt. They lost Fred Warner. They lost Nick Bosa. They lost the rookie Michael Williams, all for the
They're
year.
hurt and underperforming, which is a combination we love for fantasy.
Exactly. They are going to have to throw the ball quite a bit down the stretch here. And especially in week 16 and 17 against the Colts and the Bears. And George Kittle is one of those guys where I don't know how much, and this could be an unfounded take, and I could just be talking out of my ass, but I don't know how much I care about like a tight end schedule for George Kittle because he's just kind of like a weapon. You know what I mean? Like he's a typical tight end, obviously, but I'm just saying even in a really tough matchup, they'll rely on him. And he's going to get consistent target volume. I think that if you're like a tight end away from being a serious contender, maybe Kelsey is already on a contender and he's not an option for you, I would send a late projected first for George Kittle. He's currently being valued on Keep Trade Cut in between a late first and an early second. I doubt a second gets it done, but I would be fine sending my late first on a team that I know is making the playoffs. Maybe I'm starting Noah Fant like Tags. And Mike Gesicki is coming back and ruining my playoff chances. I would buy George Kittle for a late first.
So going through the buy list for tight ends, it's funny you mentioned the thing about defensive matchups. I don't think I care. I don't care if the matchup is red meaning bad, because like I feel like tight ends are just kind of their own thing. I think the only team I worry about is the Chargers because of Derwin James. Other than that, I feel like most teams, it's like most teams don't have the personnel to really specifically shut down a tight end and focus on that. So I'm not really worried about defensive. I feel like that'd be an interesting thing to kind of look up in the offseason is if defensive matchups really matter for tight end, because they're kind of their own unique thing. They're used so differently. You can use them so much differently. Like look at Tyler Warren. They can use them all over the field. So I always kind of feel like tight ends are matchup agnostic, I guess.
Well, I think that it's an interesting thing to talk about because there's a lot of platforms that deal with statistics and they talk about schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed to tight ends. And there's like some bad defenses. Like this one that I'm looking at, the Raiders are the 5th hardest matchup for tight ends, where the Raiders defense sucks, but they shut down tight ends most of the time. Could that be because their corners suck and teams are able to run all over them and this kind of thing? And then there are some bad defenses that just happen to cover the tight end position well, like the Raiders. And then there are good defenses that maybe let up a little more to the tight. Like the Jags have been a really good defense this year. They are the 2nd best matchup for tight ends because I think that some teams just, you're able to game plan a tight end based around how good a defense is and what parts of the defense are good. But I do think that you're right in the sense that, like, is it not crazy to say that, like, Tyler Warren and Aronda Gadsden hardly play the same position? Like, they're both tight ends, but they don't do the same thing at all.
My next tight end, spoiler of my buy, is Dalton Schultz. How do you compare Dalton Schultz to Tyler Warren?
You can't.
They're completely different players, and tight ends there's so many different usages for tight ends that I don't really care about defenses because there's so much that is involved with just being able to look and be like, oh, this team gives up league best against tight end, but it's because their defense is number 1 against the run and number 8 against wide receivers.
Yeah.
So there's only one other spot that production can get funneled to.
Exactly.
So I don't know. It's so hard to figure out if defenses even matter for tight ends. I feel like,
but for George Kittle, I really don't think it does. And
I think it's one of the positions where you're looking for like usage more than anything. Is the team creative with how they use their tight end, and do they scheme stuff for him? And I feel like that's the only thing that matters for tight end production.
Yeah, absolutely. You said that you were going to suggest buying Dalton Schultz.
Yeah. Last 3 weeks finished. He finished tight end 7, tight end 4, tight end 8. Playoff schedule is the Raiders, Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers. Not great, but I think he's just going to have volume to give him a floor, and he can probably be had for dirt cheap. Like, I bet a team would sell him for a fourth or 2/4, maybe a third. But I feel like he's the cheapest buy I found that can be plugged in and be a decent start, because the wide receivers aren't really doing much for the Texans, and they've kind of just, by comparison, been funneling production to the tight end.
I think there are a lot of tight ends where I would look across my 15, 16 leagues, and there is not a single league where they are on waivers, and there is not a single league where they are in a starting lineup.
Yeah.
It's like every single league, they are just sitting on a bench. And I think Dalton Schultz is like one of those guys.
Yeah.
Because there is not a single contender that's relying on him to start, right? So these guys where, like a Wandale, he's probably in that person's lineup. A Dalton Schultz, nobody cares about holding on to this guy. So I think, it makes a ton of sense. It's easy. We don't need to...
And I feel like he's going to put up the same production as Ferguson is right now. Maybe even more, since Lamb and Pickens kind of gobbles up so much of the target share there.
Yeah, I'd be interested to look at the splits with CJ Stroud versus Davis Mills.
Yeah.
But obviously Mills is in there again this week on Thursday night. So,
but we kind of saw, like, Stroud's last game was he was funneling a lot of volume to Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. He was like looking through the tight end list. I'm like, okay, he's productive right now, and he is as dirt cheap as it gets for tight ends.
I mean, he's top 8 in 4 of the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steady target volume, and that's only with 1 touchdown.
Speaking of tight ends that are dirt cheap.
My other name?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
You just can't quit it, man.
I'm going to spend 45 seconds on this, and we're not going to talk about him a second more than that. But I think, okay, it's Darren Waller. Bear with me. He's eligible to return after the bye week from IR. They have the second best rest of season schedule for tight ends. I bet somebody would take a fourth for him, like you said with Dalton Schultz, because every week, if you're looking at your lineup, if you're not me, okay, anybody except for me, because I love Darren Waller, anybody except for me, if you're looking at your lineup every week, and this week you're like, oh, who's on waivers? Oh, Tyrell Shavers, maybe I want to pick him up. You go to, oh, you need to drop somebody? Where do your eyes go right away? To Darren Waller. Okay, this is a guy who's barely hanging on to people's rosters. I think you could get him for a fourth, and it's low risk, and it's really high reward, in my opinion. If he comes back, here's what I'll say. If Darren Waller comes back, he will finish in top 12 in tight end points per game for the rest of the season. Stamp it.
I looked it up. There are a few trades for Waller for a fourth.
No risk.
Yeah.
And we don't need to say anything else.
Waller for Kareem Hunt.
That is disgusting.
I just what a lovely note to finish this segment on. We all need to go like take a bath after that. I feel gross. But yeah, for that price,
yeah.
It's such a cheap upside pick, and I'm about to go snipe them from all of our leagues for a fourth from you. So,
well, yeah, I'm not selling them to you for a fourth.
That's true. You already bought them in every single league we're in together.
Literally, I have. People look at their we had this happen in a league recently where everybody was like sending in their top exposures from Dynasty Daddy or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Genuinely, Darren Waller's at like 70% for me.
Oh no!
Because this summer I was just picking him up everywhere because he was just on waivers, right? He came out of retirement, so I just ended up with him literally everywhere.
There's so going through this too, I was like, because I'm already in like contender shopping mode. I'm like perusing all the leagues, trying to find where I can buy some guys for cheap that'll help my team. Yeah. And the amount of times I've looked through a player and be like, oh, that guy would be a good fit. Let me see who has him, and it's you. And I'm just like, fuck. That's the worst. It's the worst feeling. I'm like, this guy knows too much about me.
Not getting that done. No, but we can still get stuff done. Like hopefully Caleb Williams for Justin Herbert. We'll see.
Dude, I'm stewing on it.
I have one I have one player that I think is a good sell for contenders,
Okay.
which is very interesting.
This one is a good one.
Yeah, I think it's probably unpopular, but I think I have good reasoning, and it's Jonathan Taylor. And now I'm not saying sell Jonathan Taylor for a bunch of first-round picks if you're trying to win a championship. Obviously not. Nor do I think you need to do this. He's going to be really good for the rest of the season, and I think that he will help people win championships this year. But purely from a value standpoint, as well as the schedule, I think he's an obvious sell. So he's going to turn 27 right after the season ends. We talk about 27 being the age for wide receivers. It's even worse for running backs. So if we're looking at Dynasty Fantasy Football as a market, like we should, this is the absolute highest point Jonathan Taylor will be valued for the rest of his career, guaranteed.
100%.
I don't think there's an argument against that. He will not be valued higher than he is right now. We did a 2-round startup last week, and he didn't get drafted. Tags, do you know what overall player he is on Keep Trade Cut right now, without looking?
And value?
In value.
Overall,
include Superflex, tight end premium. Like, this is including quarterbacks, everybody.
I would say 20.
Tags, 10.
How?
He is the 10th overall player on Keep Trade Cut. These are some of the names that Jonathan Taylor is valued ahead of according to Keep Trade Cut. Devon Achane, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Trey McBride, Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice. It's insane. The Colts are dead last in rest of season schedule for running backs. They have one matchup that is outside of the bottom 10. Most difficult. One.
That's 49ers, I'm guessing.
I'm not sure which one it is exactly. Give me 2.5 seconds and I can figure it out.
Yeah, because I think it's I think 49ers was the juicy one there. His playoff schedule is what? Seahawks,
yeah,
49ers, Jaguars.
But the rest of the season they have Kansas City, 5th hardest, Houston,
Awful.
6th,
Awful.
Jacksonville, 7th, Seattle, 8th, then they have the Niners, and then Jacksonville again.
That is rough.
It's really bad, and it doesn't mean he's not going to score points. He's going to be good, but are you kidding me? He's higher than Devon Achane? If you, in a pure running back for running back swap, I think the drop-off in points from JT to Achane, or JT to James Cook, if you can get a plus at all on that, you're not going to lose out on that many points the rest of the season. And I think that this will not only be a smash in 3 years, it'll be a smash in 3 months. So I think that the points drop off is worth it for the value that you're going to gain here, if there is any points drop off at all. Because Achane could outscore JT rest of the season.
I legally cannot recommend this because I did this exact thing last year. I had Jonathan Taylor, and I sold him for Josh Jacobs and a early second because I looked at his playoff schedule and I was like, he's against the Broncos, he's against the Titans when the Titans were incredible against the run.
I'm surprised you were able to get that done considering the start of the year JT had last year. The whole thing this summer was that his playoff performance carried his points per game totals.
And he, of course, lit up the playoffs and dropped a 40-point game against me, and it cost me the championship.
Brutal.
So just based on history, I can't recommend it because it hurts too bad still. But I understand the move. I always love tearing down players. If you can get the same production from a lower player and get a bonus added on, whether that's a first or a second.
Dude, CMC.
I bet.
Imagine the plus you can get on CMC.
You can probably get CMC plus the second for JT.
At least.
Which I just realized I need to go make some trade offers now in my JT leagues.
I would try to get more than... I think you could get a first. With how he's being valued right now, people see CMC as so freaking brittle. They think that he could tear his Achilles tomorrow. Right? So, Jonathan Taylor, 10th overall player on Keep Trade Cut. CMC's in the 40s. So I think somebody with CMC would do that. I don't know who these people are that are ranking Jonathan Taylor ahead of Devon Achane, but
that's wild.
They are out there. They are among us.
Is that an H-Chan jersey on your chair, by the way?
It is. It is.
All right. We've converted him.
My Flock League MVP. I had to cop the jersey for him.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I've got JT and I can tear down to McCaffrey plus a first or plus another very usable asset, I love that. And I'm now
this is the thing.
You just sparked a fire within me because now I need to go to my leagues and send out all these JT offers to try to get this deal done because that's so enticing.
Like,
and
it's just a value play, right? Like, he's scoring so many points right now, but I mean, we're kidding ourselves if we're going to value a 27-year-old running back in the first round of startups. I promise you, Tags, if he gets taken in the first round of a startup draft this summer, I'll eat my shirt.
All right, we'll make a video on it too.
Yeah, no, I will. There's no way. There is no way anybody would do that.
Yeah,
a 27-year-old running
taking
back.
Up at the
insane.
110.
It's insane.
There's no way.
Oh my god! Like what?
So this is our weekly reminder not to keep trade cut rankings by heart, but it is good to just give a generalized sentiment on it because I don't think.
Yeah.
I think Taylor is going to be taken the same way Barkley was this offseason in startups.
Which was like early third?
Early third. Yeah.
Yeah.
212 if a team is really aggressive at pushing.
Yeah, but like look how that turned out. Like
yeah, his value is literally never going to be more than it is right now.
Exactly.
But gosh, it's such a fun. Well, we'll talk about tier downs. We need to add that to our list to talk about in the offseason because it's my favorite way to play Dynasty.
I love it during the rookie draft. It's my trading down in the rookie draft is like
it's the easiest way to accumulate as much value and assets as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a fun one. And also we should talk about there's the age gap, 29 versus 27, but in the way both running backs play the game, they could have the same shelf life.
You're talking about CMC, yeah.
CMC versus Jonathan Taylor. Like
I think there's a world where they end their careers
around the same time, right? Because Taylor plays a lot more physical. He's had more. I'd be curious about how many total carries each player has had. Because I would imagine it's fairly close, even though there's a 2-year difference.
Well, CMC's been injured so many times. Yeah, I think you're right.
You call them injuries. I call them rest breaks.
Yeah, exactly. He takes a season off every few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that there's definitely like CMC has to stay healthy, obviously, and
but
the more
Taylor also has injury concerns.
The older he is, the more devastating any sort of long-term injury would be.
Yeah.
I think there is a range of outcomes, like you're saying. That's all you're saying is that there's a possibility, and I agree.
Yeah, and I think based on because I think the biggest difference between the two is age, right? That's the only difference. Yeah. If CMC was 27, given the year that CMC is having right now, I bet they'd be valued the same in PPR.
Well, yeah, CMC's value has always been weird because he's always been like just injured or getting injured,
devastatingly injured.
You know what I mean? Like every summer, it feels like there's some sort of injury risk baked into his value. So he's never like
It's okay, but he figured out the spring of youth, and he siphons the health out of the rest of his team.
Yes, exactly. He's siphoning the health from the defense in order to score more fantasy points.
Now that he has that figured out, he's good for another at least 5 years.
He just needed to gain these powers and he would be fine. And the 49ers defense is cursed for half a decade.
But realistically, I was just thinking, I'm like, if CMC had the 27 age mark, they would be valued the same. But I think CMC's game is going to age so much better than Jonathan Taylor's. So you might not even be getting like a youth advantage by trading Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
God, we hate Jonathan Taylor on this podcast, apparently.
I hate him at 10 overall.
Yes.
I don't hate him anywhere else. I hate him because he's a Colt, obviously. But yeah, I think that's all we got for you guys. We did a pretty good job here keeping it relatively short. We're at like an hour 15, I think, about that.
Not too bad. And I feel like we touched on a lot of fun scenarios and strategy points.
Yeah, so go make those playoff pushes.
Look at us go.
I think I mentioned it last week, but I'm getting the podcast uploaded to Apple and Spotify every week. So if you prefer just the audio and you want to listen there, check us out.
I do not like looking at us.
Yeah, no, I don't blame anybody. But yeah, leave a rating and a review there. I'm sure that helps. If you're able
just
to
any
do that.
engagement.
Just hit 5 stars. Just hit the 5-star button just for fun.
Even 4 stars if you're just
if like you just it but like don't it a love little it. Bit. Yeah. It's not your favorite.
Even 4 stars is helpful.
But if you're gonna leave 4 stars, leave a little comment on how we can get to 5 stars.
Yeah.
What do we got to do? So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Once again, you'll find out when we do what we're talking about next week. And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next week.